Here are 30 One Piece secrets you probably didn't know about, starting with the fact that Naruto has appeared in One Piece manga. On the cover of this chapter, you can clearly see Naruto eating Luffy's favorite meat behind Nami. If you look even closer, you can see that Nami's clothes have an Akatsuki cloud pattern on them. This is pretty crazy, but did you know that the author of Naruto even referenced One Piece? On this chapter cover, you can clearly see the Straw Hat logo drawn on top of the Hokage statues. The bond between Kishimoto and Oda still blows my mind, but this is nothing compared to the time Oda appeared in the One Piece anime. If you look closely in this scene during the Baratie arc, you can see Oda's name is written in the corner of this mirror. But this isn't the only time Oda managed to sneak himself in the show. His name even appears here on the spine of this book. Also, did you know that Luffy was one of the 7 ambassadors of the Tokyo Olympics 2020? One of the Olympic players even copied Luffy's second gear pose before his match. However, this isn't the only time when Luffy has appeared outside the One Piece world. Luffy also became the first manga character to appear on the cover of the Japanese fashion magazine, Men's Non No. This was also the first cover design Oda made that was not for a manga. Speaking of Oda, not only did he manage to sneak himself into the anime series as mentioned earlier, but he also had some interesting connections and decisions behind the scenes. For instance, did you know that Oda was actually supposed to name Sanji Naruto, since the curly pattern of his eyebrows resembled that of Japanese Naruto fish cake? However, as the ninja manga Naruto was about to begin serialization in Shonen Jump, Oda had to quickly change the name to prevent confusion among readers. Now let's move on from Sanji and on to Chopper. Did you know that Chopper was actually originally drawn as a zebra-looking reindeer who smokes cigars and carries a sword? But Chopper isn't the only Straw Hat that has had a design change, because both Nami and Zoro looked very different originally. Nami, for one, used to wield a giant battle axe and also had a mechanical arm. Oda's original plans for Zoro, on the other hand, are even crazier. He was originally supposed to be Buggy's bodyguard. Yeah, he was a part of the Buggy Pirates. One of the things that many people are unaware of is that One Piece could have ended back in 2002, since Oda had originally planned for this series to only go on for 5 years. But the series would end up extending, mostly due to Oda's decision to introduce the 7 warlords of the sea. This led to the One Piece manga becoming the longest-running manga series ever due to the amount of popularity and support the show gained. From 1997 to 2020, around 500,000 copies of the One Piece manga were sold, breaking the Guinness World Record for most manga copies sold, with the original record being set in 2014. If you want to be ready for the ending of One Piece, then make sure to look out for a character with an eye patch, as Oda confirmed that in the final arc of One Piece, a character with an eye patch will appear. Moving on to one of my favorite characters, Usopp. Did you know that his birthday is on April 1st, aka April Fool's Day? It's a fitting birthday for the character that arguably lies the most in the show. Some of you might have already known this, but one thing you more than likely didn't know is that Usopp's nose is actually slightly bigger than Kaku's. Speaking of surprising facts, here's another mind-blowing revelation. One of the show's most liked antagonists, Katakuri, shares his voice actor with Joseph Joestar from the anime JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, who just like him possesses the ability to predict his opponent's moves. Now let's delve into the power dynamics of the One Piece world. Did you know that Akainu's devil fruit, the Magu Magu no Mi, possesses the strongest offensive output out of all the devil fruits? This makes Akainu one of the absolute powerhouses in the One Piece universe. Speaking of an admiral, did you know that the 3 original admirals, Kizaru, Aokiji, Akainu, were all based on popular Japanese actors? Kizaru is inspired by this guy, Akoji is by this guy, and Akainu by this dude. Now, let's move on to some of the crazier facts. Big Mom married 43 husbands and has had 46 sons and 39 daughters. She's been giving birth for 42 years straight. Talk about hella output. It's no wonder that Oda decided to name her Big Mom. One of the arcs that truly left a hole in most of us would probably be Marineford. You know, who else ended up getting a hole left in them? Yeah, Ace and Whitebeard. Having to say farewell to both Ace and Whitebeard was truly heartbreaking. Because of this, the Universal Studio of Japan decided to build a replica of the tombs of Ace and Whitebeard as a way of paying tribute to the series. Have you ever noticed how some of the pirates in the show share striking similarities to real-life pirates? The former pirate king, Old Roger, shares a big similarity with the French pirate Olivier Levasseur. Olivier, just like Roger, allegedly hid a big treasure and left behind a cryptogram regarding regarding its whereabouts during his public execution. Other similarities that can be found between the pirates in the show and in real-life pirates. For example, if you combine the first name of Edward Newgate and the last name of Marshall D. Teach, you will get Edward Teach, which is the name of the real-life Blackbeard. But the real-life references don't end there. While I was scouring the internet for secrets and facts, I ended up finding countless similarities between certain islands in One Piece and in real-life counterparts. For instance, the Italian city Venice and Water 7. Besides sharing the same geographical terrain, the show also ended up incorporating the Agua Laguna event, which is a special event where the water rises much higher than usual, creating really big waves. I also find similarities between Mary Joie, which seems to be based off this palace in France, and Wano, which shares striking similarities with feudal Japan. Another insane fact that you probably didn't know about is that the sun god Nika and Luffy's Gear 5 was briefly hinted at by Oda. This happened way back in the Skypiea arc when Luffy and the Straw Hats were dancing with the Shandorians. If you take a close look, then you can clearly see a silhouette of Luffy looking exactly like Nika, the sun god. Another piece of foreshadowing that we got was during the Alabasta arc when Sanji created a nickname called Mr. Prince during his talk with Crocodile. Later in the show, it was revealed that he was an actual prince from the North Blue. Despite Luffy being the main protagonist of the show, Nami is actually the first main character to appear on screen in the anime. It has also been said by Oda that she's the third smartest character to come out of East Blue, only coming in behind Ben Beckman and Captain Kuro. When asked about which devil fruit power Oda wants in real life, Oda said that he would prefer to have Robin's power so that he could draw even quicker. There have been several battles throughout One Piece where Luffy has beaten the enemy. But are you aware that Luffy has actually never killed any character in One Piece? Every character that Luffy has fought is still alive. Did you happen to notice that Ace was the One Piece character with the biggest bounty known at the time of his death? Having a bounty at 550,000 million berries, he's the only One Piece character that has rejected the position of a warlord of the sea. In the anime, Garp has mentioned that he has eaten a whopping 842 donuts in a row without taking any break at all. Luffy's iconic X-shaped scar came during the Marineford arc when Akainu struck both Luffy and Jinbei. But did you realize that Oda foreshadowed that Luffy would get a scar like this way back in the series? Back in episode 223 of the anime, an entranced Zoro ends up attacking Luffy against his will. Zoro slashes Luffy in an X shape across his chest. The wound heals later, but it wasn't long before Luffy ended up getting a permanent X-shaped scar in the exact same spot. Did you know that the Ope Ope no Mi fruit currently held by Trafalgar Law is deemed to be so valuable in the eyes of the world government to the point where they are willing to go as far as paying a crazy price of 5 billion berries for it? This could partly have to do with the fact that the Ope Ope no Mi has a special ability granting the user the power to turn someone immortal at the cost of the user's life. Keeping this in mind, the price tag doesn't seem that bad. Moving on to Dragon Ball. Did you know that there are an insane amount of similarities between Goku and Luffy? Yeah, Oda has gotten a lot of inspiration from Dragon Ball. Both of them are very powerful and eat huge amounts of food. They also both have messy black hair. Dragon Ball and One Piece have even had a crossover episode called Cross Epoch. In this episode, Luffy is seen doing something absolutely insane. He was riding the Nimbus Cloud, which only the pure of heart can do. These facts were pretty crazy, but if you want something even crazier, click here to find your mind-blowing Easter eggs you missed in One Piece.